this time to rise in body or spirit and join in singing hymn number 346 in your gray hymnal, one of my very favorites. Come sing a song with me.
Please be seated. Good morning. I am Monica Clark Robinson. I'm the ministerial intern here. My pronouns are she and her. It is so good to be with you this morning. I've got some announcements, y'all. It is not too late to submit your 2025 pledge. I know you thought it was, but it's not. Good news. Mail your pledge card enclosed in your Canvas mailing. You can complete the online pledge form by scanning the QR code in your order of service. You can send your pledge by email to info@churchoftheriver.org, or you can complete a pledge card at the Church of the River and place it in one of the donation boxes. This morning, we will have childcare and family ministry gatherings for children and youth of all ages, from birth through 12th grade. Youth in 6th through 12th grades gather at 11 in the youth room across the courtyard. So if you are youth and you want to go be with your people, get up, leave right now, go. And of course, children of all ages are always welcome to remain in the sanctuary. The Alliance Group meets Tuesday, November 12th at 10:30 at Trezevant Manor for a performance and talk by guest harpist Barbara Christensen. For more information, contact Sue Myers. Do you have any leftover Halloween candy? My address is Drop in the box in the breezeway and it will be gratefully donated to the soup kitchen. Also, come enjoy tea with Monica on Thursdays at 4 p.m. via Zoom. Last week I had a class that happens once every few weeks, but this week I am open. I invite you to join me for that. You can contact me at intern@churchoftheriver.org for that Zoom link. Church of the River has been invited to set up an informational table at this year's Transgender Day of Remembrance storytelling event. It is put on by Out Memphis on November 18th from 3 to 7. If you want to join in that and help to work to make the event happen, please send an email to sam@minister@churchoftheriver.org. Now, finally, if you are a first-time visitor to the Church of the River, hi, we're really glad you're here. It's been a week, hasn't it? We are delighted to have you. Please pick up a swag bag of goodies from the credenza on your way out. For details on these and other Church of the River announcements, please scan the announcement QR code in your order of service, email info@churchoftheriver.org, subscribe to our weekly mailing list, and follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and now also on TikTok. Yes? Oh, yes! I knew I'd forget. I would like for Kaya to come up and speak to us for just a moment. Kaya, welcome so much. Tell me your last name. I would like to formally introduce you to Kaya Lewis. Kaya Lewis is our youth coordinator, and we are so glad to have you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kaya. I'm the new youth coordinator, so all of middle school and high school, I'll be the one that's sitting with them. We'll be kind of talking about different things in life, different things in our faith, in the world. So today we were even reflecting on how our youth was feeling about the election. Then we also play some games, and we have a good time. So if you have youth that have not been coming to youth group, it's not too late. You can still bring them. This Wednesday, I am having a virtual open house on Zoom at 8, I believe. I think it's 8. But I sent out an email. If you didn't get the email and you need the email, let me know so I can get you access to the Zoom. In the virtual open house, you can come ask any questions you might have about the youth group, what it is we're doing. If you would like to volunteer to sit with our youth with me, you can ask me then as well. If you are unsure if it's a good fit for you, just come with your questions, come with ideas, concerns, anything you might have for me. And yeah, that's the main thing. Aside from youth group outside of the church, I'm a gymnastics coach, so some of your little ones actually see me throughout the week, and we'll be practicing our cartwheels and things. And I also run Kaya's Kitchen, which right now is giving free meals to the community. So yesterday we actually fed 4 different families. We were able to give them 2 dinners and a week's worth of breakfast. Yes, so it's really exciting. Yes. Thank you, I appreciate that. So we've been doing free meal days since the summer. We've given almost 300 meals out to the community of Memphis. So if you have questions on that side as well, you can come ask me at any time. I would love to tell you more about it. I would love to get you involved in it, all the ways to get involved. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's me.
Thank you. Thanks,
Oh,
Kaya.
and my pronouns are she, her.
Now, with no more announcements, our worship service will now continue. Oh, my friends, it has been a week. Can we hear today, for right now, can we let everything that isn't capital L love fall away a bit, just for a while? And can we try, as the song says, to hold the whole world in our hands? Can we love ourselves love ourselves enough to remember that we too are divine? Can we love others enough to care deeply about what matters to them, even if we don't understand? Can we love the world enough to give part of ourselves in service, even in sacrifice, even in times of grief, to its wholeness? Can we love spirit enough to let it in when it comes knocking, as it has been this week, as it is right now in this moment? Come in, love, and welcome. And now I would like for you to join me in the chalice lighting words printed in your order of service. We light this chalice for the challenge of freedom, the goal of equality, and the warmth of community. May all who gather here loving kindness and a grateful heart. And now we're going to do hymn number 188, and I'm going to ask you to rise in just a second, but this one is a round. So the choir is going to start us off, and then I'm going to bring you in when you come in, and we're going to do it 2 full times through. So they're going to sing Come, Come, Whoever You Are, and then I'm going to immediately bring you in for the next one, all right? So please rise as willing and able.
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come.
You may be seated.
All right. At this time, is my mic on? All right, we're going to keep talking, see if we can get my mic on. Is my mic on now? Great. At this time, I'd like to invite all of the young people to come join me in the front. If you are feeling like a young person this morning, you can come forward. If you don't feel like a young person this morning, you don't have to come forward. Young people of all chronological ages are welcome to join me in the front right now. We usually have a few young people who are more advanced in years as well, and that's okay. We're all very welcome. So this morning I want to talk about what does it mean to be brave, and what does it mean to be afraid? Because a lot of people right now, I don't know if you've noticed, a lot of the grown-ups in your life feeling kind of afraid, feeling kind of upset. And so, my question is, when you're feeling afraid and when you're feeling upset, what are some of the things that you do to help you feel better? Have some macaroni and cheese. That's an excellent one. What are some other things that we do to feel better when we're feeling upset?
Go outside.
Go outside. That's a great one.
Call my mom.
Call your mom. That's a great idea. Anybody else have any ideas? Yeah. Take care of yourself. Very good.
I'm answering for my daughter. If she were here, she would say, watch My Little Pony reruns.
Watch My Little Pony reruns. Absolutely. So, what I want to tell all of you young people is that those are all great things to do when you're feeling afraid and upset. And I want to tell you two more things about your relationship with the grown-ups in this congregation. One of them is that the grown-ups in this congregation are all here for you. If you are feeling upset, if you are feeling afraid, the grown-ups in this congregation, you can sort of look behind you and see all these people here. These people here are here to support you and love you. These people are here. If you are feeling upset, you can come talk to them. And the other thing that I want to tell you is that it will probably make them feel a lot better if they get to talk to you. That you are such an amazing, amazing source of love and courage and hope for the grown-ups in the congregation, that they will be so happy to hear from you, even if you don't talk about how you're feeling, if you just hang out and talk about Bluey or trucks or whatever it is that you're into, they will be so happy to hear from you. And that is your ministry to them, because the young people of this congregation have important and powerful ministry to do for everybody in the church. And with that, I'd like to invite grown-ups to get your blessing hands in the air and repeat after me as we bless our young people. You are beloved. You are sacred. You are powerful. Go in peace. So part of our work as a congregation, part of our work as a community of beloveds, is to do the work of love, justice, and compassion outside of the walls of these churches. This church, there's one of them. Outside of the walls of this church, to get out in the community and do that work. And part of how we do that work is we partner with organizations that are doing good work in the city of Memphis. We partner with organizations that are doing amazing, important, life-saving, soul-saving work in our own community, and we work with them. So we've invited a representative of one of the organizations that I'm really interested in our congregation getting involved with, who is going to come up now and tell us a little bit about who she is and what she does. So I'd like to invite Jessica Van Dyke from the Tennessee Innocence Project to come up and speak to us for a little bit.
Good morning. My name is Jessica Van Dyke, and I'm the legal director at the Tennessee Innocence Project. And, some people know who we are and what we do. They've heard of the Innocence Project, but some people haven't. And so I just ask people, have you ever seen a news story about someone who spent 30 years in prison for a crime they did not commit? If you have, that's what we do. So I'm an attorney, and I was one of the co-founders who started this statewide innocence organization in 2019. And prior to that, we had not done any work as an innocence movement, as a community. There had been very little work done in Memphis. So I began coming to Memphis for cases here about 5 years ago. It was actually 5 years ago, almost to the day, that I met my first Memphis client and saw the need here. We say it all starts with a letter. We have an application process. The application is on our website, but we do everything through the mail because the people that we're working with primarily are in prison. They are in prison, they don't have attorneys, their families don't have the funds to hire an attorney, and so they need legal help of how to prove you're innocent. It's not that hard to be convicted of a crime you didn't commit. It is impossibly difficult. It's a mountain of evidence to overturn that wrongful conviction. So we say it all starts with a letter. And they write us, and they go through the application process, and we keep track, obviously, of who's writing us and where they're writing us from. And overwhelmingly, without a doubt, we get more applications from Memphis than any other jurisdiction in Tennessee. Overwhelmingly. So I started working on a Memphis case, and I want to spend just about 2 minutes, which is not nearly enough time to cover it, but I want to give you a little bit of an overview because it highlights some of the injustices that we see. I always make it a point to say that people can be wrongfully convicted because we oftentimes think of the Dateline episode, right, where it's something malicious. Somebody did something really horrible and set them up. And sometimes that happens. But here's the reality. The criminal legal system is made up of humans. And I think we can all agree that humans make mistakes. So we have to have someone that's serving as a watchdog, someone who is making sure that we get it right. And some people are wrongfully convicted purely by accident. But either way, our job is to investigate those claims of actual innocence and to litigate them in court. So I want to tell you just for a minute about Artis. Artis is our first client to be exonerated from Shelby County. Artis spent 21 years in prison for a crime he did not commit. It was a robbery that took place at BB King's downtown. I don't know if you all can envision where BB King's is, right there behind MLGW. And it was pretty clear Artis was not the perpetrator. The perpetrator of this crime was 5'4" to 5'6", slender, medium build. We had 7 different people saying what he looked like. He was maybe 140 to 160 pounds. So that's what we know. It was also pretty clear this was some sort of an inside job based on the details of the crime. This is a robbery that ended up with a shooting. But Artis was not that person. One, Artis had an alibi for where he was that day. But Artis is 6 feet, super broad-chested, just a big guy, 200-some pounds, did not match the description at all. What ended up happening is that police could not solve the crime, and they eventually got a tip from a confidential informant who himself was under arrest and was looking at a lot of time in federal prison. He had just gotten out. And that person alone pinpointed Artis. He was put into a photo lineup, was not picked out, and they kept showing the lineup until eventually he was picked out. He went on to spend more than 20 years behind bars. Artis had no resources. He had no one to help him. The folks that we work with in prison are often living in prisons that are understaffed, where the rules are constantly changing, and the proliferation of drugs is rampant. These are people who are marginalized and often forgotten, and we believe it's our great privilege to represent them in court. And so we did that in Artis's case. I could spend an hour talking about it, but we underwent a number of different experts, and we got out there and hit the streets. We found witnesses. By the time it was all done, we did get Artis out of prison. It took the equivalent, if he had hired an attorney, it would have been about $1.1 million, and took 5 years. So we like to talk to the community. First, if you know someone who's been wrongfully convicted, please let them know about our services, which are free to people that we represent. Please let them know about the work we're doing. Secondly, I do want to let you know we have an event this coming Thursday right here in Memphis at McEwen's, and you'll have the opportunity to hear from Wayne Burgess, who he spent 24 years in prison. So what was kind of amazing about Wayne and Artis is they were both in the same prison. There's one, people don't know this, there's a prison right outside of Memphis. There's 2 in Hardeman County. They are chronically understaffed. And Wayne was the leader of the Christian group, and Artis was the leader of the Muslim group. And they knew each other. They had lived as innocent men behind bars for a number of years. Both really remarkable people. So Wayne will be here. This is Thursday, November 14th, this coming Thursday. It's at McEwen's. If you're interested, just go to our website and you can RSVP, put your name in there. You can also sign up for the newsletter. But I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to share what we're doing. Memphis has been overlooked as a community with this type of legal service for many years. I personally moved here about a year ago because I was invested in making sure that we got people the help that they needed. And I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you all today. Thank you.
I know this is riveting to watch. Thank you, Jessica, so much for being here and for doing the work that you do in our community. We are so grateful to have you and grateful to hear from you. Our first reading comes to us from the book of Jonah, chapter 2, verses 1 through 9. Then Jonah prayed to the Lord his God from the belly of the whale, saying, I called to the Lord out of my distress, and God answered me. Out of the belly of Sheol I cried, and you heard my voice. You cast me into the deep, into the heart of the seas, and the floods surrounded me. All your waves and your billows passed over me. Then I said, I am driven away from your sight. How shall I look again upon your holy temple? The waters closed over me, the deep surrounded me, weeds were wrapped around my head at the roots of the mountains. I went down to the land whose bar closed upon me forever, yet you brought up my life from the pit. O Lord my God, as my life was ebbing away, I remembered the Lord, and my prayer came to you into your holy temple. Those who worship vain idols forsake their true loyalty. But I, with the voice of thanksgiving, will sacrifice to you what I have vowed I will pay. Deliverance belongs to the Lord.
Thank you, James and Debbie. I don't know how you knew it, but I think that was exactly what we needed. The second reading is from the poet Rumi. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, it doesn't matter. Ours is not a caravan of despair. Come, even if you have broken your vows 1,000 times, come yet again, come. Please join me in the spirit of prayer or meditation. Spirit of life, divine love, which we call by many names and no name, we feel the ground beneath us shifting. Some of us are uneasy, uncertain of what may lie ahead. We feel a sense of loss for something that maybe we never really even had, and that's its own kind of sadness. We are grieving, untethered. Our feelings may be all over the place. Some might feel angry or scared or confused or just plain tired. Show us, divine source, Show us how to lean into this moment, grateful for what it has to teach. Help us not to rush from this feeling. We pray that this may be what will crack us open somehow and reveal more love, more justice, more peace, more compassion. We pray that it will open parts of us that were always there, all along, waiting. Help us too, Divine Spirit, remember to seek out the moments of joy and tenderness and sweetness, just like the sparrow that James sang about. Even now, we need joy, or maybe especially now. May we lean on each other and this community, returning again and again to what sustains us. Come what may, O Spirit, help us to remember the work of love and justice is long, and it is not done in one election cycle, nor can it be undone in one election cycle. We will not let the forces of hate, oppression, and tyranny take root, not in our hearts. Instead, we pray to have the courage to show up, bringing our beautiful, broken-hearted selves, pledging again and again to work for what we value, for love, for justice, for community, for equity, and for peace. We ask for these things in your many holy names, so may it be. And now we'll take a moment of silence to honor the prayers of your own heart. Amen. And now it is time for us to gratefully receive the offering. Let me turn to that information. We're going to take an offering now, as we do every Sunday. It will allow us to exercise that all-important generosity of spirit and to support this church and its many ministries. Donations can be made many ways. You can scan the QR code on the sign at the welcome table at the front, or on your printed order of service. You can text at 901-350-2686, or on the website at churchoftheriver.org. Now, I invite you also to help us in a way that is so impactful, even though you may not realize it. Take your phones out right now. I know most of the time we don't want you to do this, but take them out. Check in with us, take a selfie, take a cute picture of your guest sitting with you, and tell them that you are here, and tell them who we are. The gifts of the congregation will now be most gratefully given and received.
Well, good morning again. And welcome to our new month with our new theme. The theme for this month is a return to relationship. This theme was already preached on last week by our congregation's brilliant and capable intern, Monica Clark Robinson, but this is my first crack at it. So when we encounter Jonah in the reading, he's in a very low place. Jonah, if you don't know the story, is a Hebrew Bible prophet whom God called on to go preach to the people in a city called Nineveh, but Jonah was afraid to go to Nineveh, so instead he got on a boat going in the opposite direction. And so in the story, Jonah is on the boat and a huge storm begins, and the boat is battered this way and that, and the sailors on the boat somehow come to realize that the storm is happening because somebody on the boat shouldn't be on the boat because they have strayed from a sacred mission. So they come to this realization, and Jonah identifies himself as the culprit. And so in order to save themselves and the other passengers and cargo on the boat, they throw Jonah over the side of the boat, and Jonah lands in the water. And then Jonah is famously swallowed up by an aquatic animal, either a whale or a giant fish, depending on who you ask. This morning, we're gonna say whale because I like whales. And so the whale proceeds to carry Jonah to his proper destination. But where we find Jonah this morning is he's sitting in the belly of the whale and he is reflecting on the moment that he hit the water. After being thrown overboard and beginning to sink down, this is perhaps the lowest moment in Jonah's entire journey. This is the moment when he was at his most despairing, his most panicked, under the water in the ocean in a storm, and unsure if he was even worthy of being saved. Jonah, after all, had strayed from his obligations, and Jonah was kind of a jerk. Like, if you read the book of Jonah, Jonah is consistently a deeply unpleasant human being, like right up until the end. And he was probably at least somewhat aware, right, that he had a tendency to rub people the wrong way. Still, I don't know how conscious Jonah was of his transgressions. I don't know how much he regretted what we, with the benefit of hindsight, might call his selfishness and short-sightedness, or in other words, his deep humanness. If ministry has taught me anything, it's that people tend to not be nearly as aware of their own shortcomings as the people around them are. I imagine that Jonah was, as far as he was concerned, just sort of living his life and doing the best that he could. I imagine Jonah in the water asking himself, how did I get here? And genuinely not being entirely sure about the answer. But there he is at his lowest point in this bleak, evil place with no oxygen, and that is where he encounters the whale. My friends, I wonder if anybody out in the congregation this morning is feeling a little bit like Jonah. Perhaps feeling like our country is having a Jonah moment, having just hit the chilly, brackish water and trying desperately to figure out what mistakes and mishaps we could have made that have landed us in such a state. Could we have done more? Could we have believed more? Could we have knocked on more doors or donated more money? It's not like we didn't get enough emails asking us to donate money. Could we have done something, anything more, to have prevented this moment from happening? I know I've been feeling that way. This is indeed a low moment in the history of our country and our world. I remember the first time that Donald Trump was elected, sitting with a woman in the congregation that I was serving at the time who had worked in military intelligence during the Second World War. I remember sitting with her and listening to her cry and telling me that she had fought to defeat authoritarianism decades ago, and now here it was again. And when he lost in 2020, I thought of her. I thought we did this in part for her. And now here we are again. The results of this recent election were so devastating to so many of us who are now worried about our future quality of life or the lives of the people we love.
I feel that we as a country and as a community are now over the side of the boat and we have hit the water and we are wondering how in the hell we ended up here. And naturally, blame is being cast around. I've read a lot of deeply unhelpful articles this week. Has anyone else read really unhelpful articles throwing blame around about who was clueless, who ignored what, who should have gone to Nineveh? When we threw who over the side of the boat, we are all here together in this deeply depressing place. But oh my beloveds, that's where the whale comes in. Because even in the place of our deepest despair, there is, as the great UU minister Wayne Arneson wrote, a deeper truth. And that truth is that we are not alone. There is more here in the water than just us. Call it God, call it the universe, call it a spirit of community. Here in the water with us, there is a whale. There is a love that is greater than our ability to comprehend it. That love was with Jonah in the water, and it is with us now. And our work, first and foremost, is to know that the love is there and to know that it's got us. But our work is not to stop there. Our work, my beloved, is to let ourselves embody that love. It is to let ourselves become the whale that was with Jonah in his moment of greatest need. When we encounter Jonah in the text this morning, you'll notice that he isn't still in the water. He is inside the whale that rescued him, remembering what being in the water was like. And let's be clear, I don't believe that in America, in this moment, a whale or some whale equivalent is going to materialize out of nowhere, pluck us from the depths of our misery, and painlessly carry us off to our sacred destiny, at least not yet. But I believe that all of us have the power within us to embody that whale, to find each other in the water and to carry each other to somewhere better. I've been thinking this week about the moment when Jonah and the whale first encountered each other. Jonah in his deep despair, ready to drown, and the whale. Let's take a moment to think of the whale's perspective. The whale that was minding its own business, living its best whale life, and then being tapped by God to drop what it was doing and carry some guy across an ocean inside of its body. I imagine them seeing each other, locking eyes through the water, and thinking, okay, this isn't my favorite thing. None of this experience has been super enjoyable, but I guess you're what I get in this difficult moment. I guess it's me and you. This is how we encounter each other in our world. This is part of our shared ministry here and to this congregation, to carry each other to the next right place, the place where our shared ministry can take its next shape. You know, I've been thinking about the Rumi poem that we read and sang aloud this morning. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, it doesn't matter. Come, even if you have broken your vows 1,000 times. Come yet again, come, come. We are here together in this space of love and goodness, even in the face of tragedy and oppression, even though we ourselves have not always gotten it right, even if, like the poem says, like Jonah lived, we have broken our vows 1,000 times. Here together in this church, this is a place of love and hope. This is a place of whales and giant fish that will carry us to where we need to be, no matter what mistakes were made or not made that landed us in the water to begin with. I want to tell you this story just real quick before we're all done. And that's the story of what happened last time. That there was a sermon that needed to be preached at this church in the wake of a presidential election. It was the election of 2020, and Sandra and I had just had our first child. Our son Gideon was born only a few short days before that election. And so I knew well in advance that the baby was coming and that I probably wouldn't be there to preach the sermon immediately following the election. So I knew I need somebody to pinch hit, and I knew I need somebody really good, someone who I could really trust with such a difficult and important assignment. So I called my beloved friend, Rabbi Micah Greenstein of Temple Israel in Memphis. Does anybody remember this sermon? And I asked Micah if he would preach the sermon, and Micah was reluctant, right? Because, oh God, who wants to do that sermon? But I convinced him to do it as a personal favor to me, so Micah said he'd do it, and then something truly unbelievable happened. You have to remember, this was in the early throes of COVID, so all of the services were pre-recorded videos, so Micah just had to send in a video of him doing the sermon, and he sent in the video of him doing the sermon 2 weeks before the election. And I was furious. I could have slapped him. Like, I hired you to respond to the results of the election. How can you do that 2 weeks before the results come in? And then I watched the sermon. And in the sermon, Micah talked about human decency and how all of us have a need to come together and reject the pressure to hate each other. In other words, Micah spoke what was true and what would be true regardless of who won the election. The message didn't need to change. What is right and good in this world, what is ours to do in this world, remains the same regardless of whatever else happens. That's why it makes sense to have the Tennessee Innocence Project here today as part of our worship service, because our work continues in all of its forms. Our work of love, justice, and compassion is the same as it was before and the same as it ever shall be. We are still a people of decency and goodness. We are still each other's whale, ready to carry each other back to the path that we need to be on. There is a love that is bigger and more powerful than any president, bigger and more powerful than we could ever understand. That love is here with us in this space. It is what we embody and what we cling to today, yesterday, tomorrow, and beyond. Amen. I invite you at this time to rise in body or spirit and join in singing hymn number 95, There Is More Love Somewhere.
encounter the world at its ugliest until you find beauty. Go, encounter the world at its cruelest until you find compassion. Go, encounter yourself at your worst until you find that you are a beloved child of God. Go in peace and amen.